Welcome back to the Tool Crib and video 6 of the Super Surge build. Today we're going to be turning our attention to the wire cutters. Now I'm going to take out, these are the premium wire cutters. These are a replacement that I put into the Surge. These are the original 154 CM that came with this one. And this is out of my Leatherman Mutt EOD. So I've stolen these out of the Mutt EOD and I'm going to replace those. So overall, the dimensions of these things are pretty much on par with one another as far as the overall height, the overall width and everything. So they should be a fairly easy modification. Now, at the front of this cutter, it has a bit of a curve and it fits into the plier head as you see here. And because of that, the EOD cutters are not a direct drop-in replacement for these cutters. So we're going to take the Dremel and we're going to mark it off around this edge, and we're going to radius this edge out just enough so that it will fit in, and then we'll test them to see if it actually works. So that's what we're going to do right now. Well, that ended up being super easy. I might have even took just a hair more out of here than what I needed to. So I rounded that edge just a little bit in front, and everything else works perfectly. There's no contact points on the back, no contact points here on the inside. So now I just need to take the other one off, do it, and then we'll test them out. Well, I got them in, so now let's just see how they work. We're going to try them against my original Surge first and see how the original Surge cuts on first 10 gauge. You can see that it's a little slippery. You gotta kind of pinch it in there to get it set first, and then it does a pretty mangled up job with those cutters. And then we'll jump down to 12 gauge, or excuse me, 14 gauge, and see. It does a lot better on those, but you can still see that it has a little bit of an issue cutting through that. So now let's jump over to the EOD versions that are modified in here, and oh my goodness, that's much better. And now the 14 gauge, and you can see just how much of a difference in cutting capacity you have on soft wire cutting, how much smoother the cut is. Now I need to see if I can't grind in a little hardwire notch. Now I will tell you something about this thing, these cutters though. These things literally destroyed my grinding wheel on my Dremel in short order. So that's some pretty hard stuff. Let's see what we can do to get some hardwire cutters in there. You know, I got to thinking about it, and I kind of like the idea of having full-length electrical cutters on this multi-tool. And the good thing about the Surge and like the Super Tool 300 is that in the back they have a notch that is for your stranded wire cutters, but they actually work really well as hardwire cutters as well. Now most of the stuff that I'm cutting is usually just going to be tie wire. I'm not in the habit of cutting nails with my multi-tool. On occasion 9 wire, but I think I'm going to leave them. because I like the fact that those are really long electrical cutters and allow me to get through a lot bigger cable, so, or a lot wider cable as well. I bet you cut Romex okay with those as well. So I think that I'm just going to leave those cutters as is, as we've modified them right there. Now there's one other thing I want to point out with these cutters. You'll notice that just by a simple swap of the cutters, this one is actually a little bit wider, and so it doesn't have quite the relief behind the cutters. It's really narrow here, and just by the swap in of the EOD cutters, now we've doubled that space behind there, and so the two in combination make it very good wire cutters. First, it's got a sharpened edge, and secondly is that you have more relief behind the cutting edge, and so it's not going to crush the wire as it's being cut. So I really like those EOD cutters in the Leatherman Surge. Originally I said I was going to do this video with two parts. I was going to do the EOD cutters and then put the notch in there, which I think we're just going to leave it. And we were going to do the package opener, but I think I'm going to just leave this, shorten this video up a little bit and just have it about these EOD cutters. Because I'm thinking a couple things with this package opener. I was thinking about stealing this other tool out of the Rev and possibly integrating just a small notch into it. And this is the file depth gauge combination thing. The file's pretty much useless, but I thought, you know, if I could modify that and leave it at the same length, that I could throw in a little depth gauge onto this tool as well and have it into a cutter. Not that I would get much use out of it, but you know, I would have it on there anyway. But one thing I did want to show you, I didn't have any Romex, but what I do have is some landscape cable. So we're going to try this with the regular Surge first. Ew, that doesn't do too good of a job cutting through there. It's really mangled it up pretty good. And now we'll put it on those EOD cutters. And this is the kind of the reason why I want to leave these longer, so it'll get completely through there. And you can see what a difference that makes. So I really think I'm going to leave those EOD cutters as is now and just concentrate on using my hardwire cutters or my stranded cutters as my makeshift hardwire cutters for when I need to cut tie wire and 9-wire. Well, this has been video 6, I guess it is now, of the Super Surge build, and we have just installed some EOD cutters. This is a mod that anybody with a vise and a little dremel can do. Very easy to accomplish. It didn't take me but just a couple of minutes to get it done. So I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one.